Despite direct involvement in game development, the game manager should also take responsibility for adhering to the planned roadmap and ensuring that the project's development progresses at the intended pace. Here, let's explore why scope management is so important and talk about one cool method as a go-to solution to properly manage it. This method can be stated as a project management compass that guides managers through the twists and turns in game development realms. The method is structured into 3 key steps, each serving a distinct purpose in the project lifecycle. Step 1. Define. One of the most excessive ways to define how the product should look alike is to document everything in advance. Do millions of calls and thousands of catch-ups with hundreds of people, and iterate this process again and again until it's done. Instead, the better way to achieve the desired goal is to create a user story map and involve in its creation all necessary audiences. User story mapping plays a crucial role in uniting all project stakeholders, providing a visual representation of desired goals and illustrating the user's journey through the product. Through collaborative efforts, stakeholders come together to shape and formalize the needs, which embodies a collective knowledge of user preferences and priorities, pinpointing areas of user confidence in the product and highlighting the significance of specific tasks and actions. In short, User Story Map consists of several key elements that form a general vision of the product. Path that player forms by fulfilling his needs in the game is often called as a user journey, and it forms the spine of a map. In common practice, this is a horizontal line along which you put stickers with the desired user flow you are aiming to get. User stories that give to user a possibility to achieve the completion of his journey. This one form the ribs. In common practice, a vertical lines that starts from the spine and could be endless depending on imagination. And the last important thing here, release priority filter. This is one or multiple horizontal lines that define the priority indicator for the release. There is no silver bullet that can help to define what is the best way to gather requirements. Mainly, it depends on the personality of each individual that is involved into the process. In practice, a good way to define what is needed is to go off-site with decision makers and go step by step over each user story on the map and talk in person about ideas, vision, and personal feelings. As an output from that event, you as a manager will receive feature state elements with a detailed description of what should be delivered and what expectations are hovered over the team. Simplified version of acceptance criteria. After a user story mapping session, every involved person will leave the room with the same formed understanding: what to do, what to expect from whom, how the player should behave in different situations, what options to choose he would have. The user map is such a crucial tool for a manager that, in practice, it will likely be utilized in almost every iteration. With proper prioritization within the company, the user map becomes a key factor in determining product readiness, identifying immediate goals during planning, and serving as a weighting factor for the consideration of spontaneous ideas that often emerge during development. Step 2. Maintain. To properly maintain workflow and sustain clearness with transparency, several management tools should be mastered. Agile methodology, any that suits you more. Jira, Trello, Clickup, etc. The task tracker tools that allow you and your team to see the progression, correctly respond to the change requests, and properly represent issue statuses. Confluence, Google Docs, Miro, Excel, or other tools that allows you to share documentation and ideas among other involved guys without a mess with file commits. In any of those, the Yoda master level should be reached to properly handle edge cases. In order to exploit the game, first of all, you need to know the rules. In the production realms, exists a very big amount of adaptable tools, charts, or add-ons to monitor and control the working process. But from practice, the most simple and useful tool so far remains the Enhanced Burndown chart. Enhanced Burndown chart is an effective combination of math and diagrams that allows managers to predict iteration outcomes with 80 to 100% tolerance. All diagrams presented in there are based on a calculation of metrics that are evaluated from 3 main tracking fields that each task tracking system has: creation time, close time, and estimation value. To show backlog items in a neat way, up-down bars are used, where the difference between the top of the bars represents the amount of work closed during the sprint, and the difference between the bottom elements is the amount of work added to the backlog during the same amount of time. Up-down chart gives a general view of adding and closing tasks, but it's not limited only by this. By adding trend lines projection to the chart, there can be seen another level of prediction that allows defining time by when the actual backlog would be covered with the current task completion velocity, in a place where 2 lines cross. The final metric that brings clarity to the workflow prediction is cumulative possibility. This possibility is evaluated through the mathematical calculations of Gaussian and normal distribution algorithms based on a standard deviation of the task closure velocity. Without digging in depth, green curve line represents the possibility of completing the project within the time frame. Ideally, if you need to define a preliminary end date of the project, you pick up the date that sits in between 80 to 100% completion tolerance. The yellow bars below represent the chance of completion in the current development iteration and might be used to define when the backlog would be covered. If you want to take a closer look and check it in action, please follow the link in the description. Step 3. Control. To assess the project's status, the game manager must consistently monitor the state of affairs. To facilitate this monitoring and validation, Big Heads have created a series of artifacts and ceremonies that streamline the work and provide an understanding of the stage where the product is. Backlog Refinement Session, event during which all involved team members discuss the features and its outcome, defining what else should be done during development to count features as completed, talking about the priorities for the remaining stuff, and entirely about a scope. Scope verification, an exploration of the scope verification process, focusing on ensuring that project deliverables align with the defined scope. A crucial moment here is the involvement of stakeholders in this validation. Scope change management, systematic handling of scope changes, with a strong emphasis on evaluating their impact on project timelines, budgets, and resource allocation. Risk management, the process of mitigating and solving the scope change, product problems, and any unpredictable impacts that might appear during the game creation. Regular gameplay tests, events during which feature has to be checked within the build to ensure that everything that was planned and designed is implemented and remains stable, playable, plus in good shape and quality. Feature sign-off events. When the feature reaches a state where everything is implemented and tested, it's time to share the results with the whole team and get feedback. So this event is all about it. Bug Triage Session, event where the QA team can share and escalate problems to the development team, and in cooperation with the product owner, producer, team leads, define what priority, place in queue to fix, should take the bug, and what impact it causes to the project, budget, or work velocity. All of this does not guarantee the success of any product, but ensures an improvement in understanding pipelines, project vision, and awareness of the game development processes from inception to release and post-production. There are numerous approaches, thoughts, and perspectives, so please be wise when picking any of them, especially one that was narrated by AI Dude.